Hey, what's up, everyone? Hey, we're going to be making a quick little video to hopefully help everybody out. Um, if you're struggling with a lot of vibration, uh, thinking it's coming from the drive shaft or the rear end or something of those sort, just to give you a quick idea of what's going on, 1967 Lincoln Continental two-door coupe. But we're going to do the demonstration on my fancy little model my wife got me from Fairfield Collectibles. So, just to give you an idea of in the past, I've been chasing this for about a year. And so, over the last year, before all this happened, we did a complete brake job, all new front end components. And when I say new brake job, I'm talking about new calipers, new pads, new rotors, new drums, new lines, and flush, a good flush. So, what is happening is we were driving down the highway, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, we're doing 75 miles per hour, and all of a sudden, the rear of the car started shaking really bad, okay? And let me remind you, this is literally 12 hours after I finished all of my brake job and everything. So, I'm 100% confident in my brakes and whatnot. I even had them checked, finalized at a professional shop, just so they could basically kind of like another set of eyes, okay? So we're driving down the highway, and all of a sudden the car starts going side to side. So we start doing our research, and then we realize that, hey, everybody's saying you need to replace all your U-joints. So we buy our U-joints off of Amazon, which I highly recommend if you can, if it's available. We bought them off of Amazon as a open package or an open box item, basically saying it's in brand new condition, but the damage is the packaging is damaged, and we paid a fraction of what it was brand new. So I highly recommend doing that. So just to make this video short and sweet, okay, we put the new U-joints in, and then pop the drive shaft back in. Still, we'll go driving down the road. We still get it a lot of shaking in the rear end. But yet, my steering wheel did not move at all. Like, my car drives straight down the road, no front end alignment wobble or nothing. Everything was in the rear. So we dropped the drive shaft once again, and then what we found was there's a collar on the back of our drive shafts. It's almost impossible to find, and I reached out to a couple of vendors, and then Stinking Lincoln. I like using Stinking Lincoln. I like using John for a bunch of my parts. He's a nice guy. I highly recommend him. But they said the same thing. They could only sell me a full drive shaft because they can't really tear apart a drive shaft and whatnot. Luckily, I found one in a junkyard. Believe it or not, I found one in a junkyard. But then I go to look at it and get it from the car, and it's just completely just rotted. It's trash. So I take it to a drive shaft specialty, and he looks at it and he cleans it up really, really good. So what I did, amidst trying to get that U-joint out, I boogered it up really bad. So that's why I highly recommend, if you don't have a press, don't try to tackle your U-joints on this drive shaft. Hang on a second. It's just the U-joints swivel on some form of like a CV knuckle in between both the U-joints, and it's really hard to keep that from boogering up. And I actually messed up one of my U-joints in the process, so I had to buy another U-joint. So if you have a press, I mean, go for it. But if not, I mean, it's not your typical drive shaft, and it's going to be a little bit more difficult. Okay, so let's fast forward. So now this is probably the third time we've dropped the drive shaft and we've put it back in. So me and my dad, we go for a test drive because I'm at my wit's end now. And everything felt fine, but then all of a sudden, here comes the car, starts doing this. After it warms up, might I add. Okay, so then as we're making it home, now the car started rocking back and forth. as we're around the block, and I'm talking about these speeds are at about maybe 10 to 15 miles per hour, and we're getting a lot of rocking back and forth, and then sometimes it's in the back. So at this point, I'm really getting frustrated. Well, we pull the back wheels off just to see what kind of resistance we're getting. And sure enough, even though we did all new brakes on the back, and I even paid a professional shop, I trusted this professional shop to go through and kind of finalize any minor adjustments that needed to be made. What was happening this whole time was my rear right was accumulating so much brake dust from being so tight. They had this so tight that the rocking motion was basically the brake grabbing as I'm driving down the road, and this side on my differential was basically spinning freely, doing good, but this side is wanting to catch. So this side is trying to brake while this left side is trying to roll freely. And that, this whole time, is what was causing the uncertainty as to what was causing all that vibration and shaking. So I really just want to share this, and I'm hoping I can help other people out. I don't want you to have to chase as much as I had to chase, because I mean, it gets mentally exhausting and financially exhausting. You get to a certain point where you don't want to deal with this no more. But we took that rear brake drum to our good friend at O'Reilly's, and he cleaned the surface up. It had a lot of high spots, even though it was a fresh, brand new drum when we first originally started. Cleaned the surface up, took the high spots out, popped it back on there, cleaned everything up, and this thing floats down the highway 75, no problems now. So I'm really hoping this helps somebody if you're experiencing some vibration underneath your car, or if you're getting a little bit of rear end and you're kind of lost just as much as I was, because I mean, you don't want to have to deal with something that frequent and that often. So I hope this helps you guys out, man. Y'all take care.